somebody had said something about Big Daddy Kane, and then like 30 minutes later, he's talking on the radio. Next thing you know, you hear, hey, what's up, bro? Hey, stop! Kane beat the on the air.
You doing too much. I need the stage. I need the stage, Playboy. That ain't my problem.
When people think of Big Daddy Kane, gangster, or tough guy isn't usually the first thing that comes to mind. Instead, he's remembered as a legend in the game, known for his lyrical mastery and massive impact on hip-hop. But just like how MC Hammer was mostly seen as just a dancer, until people found out he was actually one of the realest in the streets, Big Daddy Kane also had a side to him that many wouldn't expect. A more violent, don't mess with him type of side.
But I heard Big Daddy Kane actually had hands, man. Somebody, I
He
forget.
did. Big Daddy Kane was known to beat people up. He was like, he just was hot-tempered. He definitely was known to put his hands on people.
And a lot of people in the industry can vouch for that. Take Mike Tyson, for example. He once spoke about an incident where someone talked slick about Kane. And not even an hour later, while the guy was live on the radio, Kane showed up and beat him up badly.
Somebody had said something about Big Daddy Kane, and then like 30 minutes later, he's talking on the radio. Next thing you know, you hear, hey, what's up, bro? Hey, stop! And Kane beat that on the air.
When asked if Kane ever confirmed it, Tyson said people could literally hear the beatdown happening live on air.
Big Daddy Kane talked about it.
And we heard him on the radio.
Mike, when was that?
In the 80s.
In the 80s?
Whether Kane ever admitted to it or not, there was another moment that backed up that side of him. On August 26, 2023, at London's O2 Forum Kentish Town, Kane was headlining a hip-hop 50 celebration show, deservedly so, considering his contributions to the culture. The event also featured names like LG, Onyx, Masta Ace, and others. During Kane's set, footage shows a masked rapper walking on stage and standing in front of the crowd. That rapper was later identified as Comanche Sly from the UK group Hijack. At first, Kane let him be. But after a while, he stopped the music and addressed Sly directly. "You're doing too much, Playboy. I need the stage. You're doing too much." He gave him a slight shove, but Sly didn't back down and even said something that triggered Kane to respond. "That ain't my problem."
You doing too much. I need the stage. I need the stage, Playboy. That ain't my problem. That ain't my problem.
The situation quickly escalated, and Kane began taking off his jacket, clearly ready to fight, before his team stepped in and de-escalated things. The next day, on August 27th, Hijack shared their version of events. They were furious, calling out the DJs and promoters for showing favoritism to the American artists and sidelining the UK side of things. As per usual, the DJs and promoters of the show licked of the Americans and disrespected UK side of the culture by not letting us perform. "You were always unprofessional clowns," they wrote on Facebook. "So we walked on Kane's set and he and they didn't like it. Promoters and DJs are the reason UK hip-hop never grew. Playing UK hip-hop only in the last 5 minutes of your radio shows to cover your whack bit." Despite being the target of their anger, Kane kept it cool in public. In an interview, he shared that his focus is on building bridges between generations of artists. "We had our shot, we did our thing, we're still around, and we have a fan base that supports us for our catalog. So we're not trying to threaten the younger generation, not trying to replace them. I would love to sit down with the likes of Lil Uzi Vert or Kodak Black or Migos, any of these cats, just to build. I think that's what's important, when there can be a connection where the past generation can talk with the future generation and give them game." On top of all this, there's been talk over the years about Big Daddy Kane having connections to Brian Glaze Gibbs, one of New York's most feared kingpins, known for his involvement in murder and drug back in the day. It's just another layer to the side of Kane most people don't expect. But beyond that tough, street-connected persona, there's another side to Kane. One that's all about giving back and lifting others up. Despite being one of the most respected MCs in the game, Kane never forgot to help those coming up behind him. He was known for putting people on and opening doors. For instance, he saw potential in a young Jay-Z and used to bring him along on tour.
my man JC.
Ice-T recalled this connection, stating, "I actually met Jay-Z with Kane. Kane brought Jay-Z over to my house." Kane later clarified that Jay-Z wasn't officially his hype man in the traditional sense. He explained, "He wasn't a hype man. He basically made cameo appearances on stage. When I would leave the stage to go change outfits, I would bring out Jay-Z and Positive K and let them freestyle until I came back to the stage." Jay-Z also appeared on Kane's track Show and Prove from the 1994 album Daddy's Home, and featured in the music video as well. He also gave early shine to Tupac and a then unknown Biggie Smalls by letting them freestyle during his set at Madison Square Garden.
Where's Tupac and Biggie Smalls?
Moments like that show just how influential and respected Kane was in hip-hop. His status was truly legendary. But before he reached icon status, Kane had to grind like everyone else. He was born on September 10, 1968, in Brooklyn, New York. In high school, he met Mr. C, who would later become his DJ and a key figure in his rise. In 1984, Kane linked up with Biz Markie, and the two developed a close friendship. Kane even co-wrote some of Biz's most well-known rhymes. Both would eventually become key members of the Juice Crew, a legendary Queens-based hip-hop collective led by producer Marley Marl. In 1987, Kane signed to Cold Chillin' Records, the label run by Tyrone Williams, Marley Marl's manager, and Len Fichtelberg. That same year, he dropped his debut single Raw, which quickly became an underground smash. The name Big Daddy Kane was inspired by a mix of pop culture. Kane, the character played by David Carradine in the Kung Fu TV series, and Big Daddy, a character played by Vincent Price in the 1963 film Beach Party. Kane became known for his rapid-fire flow and ability to rhyme over fast-paced beats, even while managing an asthmatic condition. His style helped define the late 80s and early 90s hip-hop look, with trends like the high-top fade, velour suits, and those iconic four-finger rings. His name also became a backronym, King, Asiatic, Nobody's Equal.
They used to be rocking the jewelry, rocking the suits, had the hairstyle, had the fade, you know what I mean, had the three cuts in his eyes, jewelry, everything. Like I said, his flow was rocking, man.
He dropped his debut album, Long Live the Kane, in the summer of 1988, which included the classic track Ain't No Half Steppin'.
Rappers stepping to me. They wanna get some, but I'm the Kane, so yo, you know the outcome.
A year later, he followed it up with his biggest album to date, It's a Big Daddy Thing, featuring 70s sample-driven tracks like Smooth Operator, and the Teddy Riley-produced I Get the Job Done, which broke into the R&B Top 40.
Well, excuse me, take a few minutes to mellow out. Big Daddy Kane is on the mic.
He also delivered a standout verse on Marley Marl's posse cut The Symphony, alongside fellow Juice Crew members Craig G, Masta Ace, and Cool G Rap, solidifying his place as one of the all-time greats. In 1990, Big Daddy Kane added another notch to his already impressive resume when he was featured on Public Enemy's powerful Fear of a Black Planet album. He appeared on the socially charged track Burn Hollywood Burn, alongside Chuck D and Ice Cube, where he addressed the negative and stereotypical portrayal of African Americans in film, especially during the Jim Crow era. Kane didn't hold back in his verse, particularly when pointing out how black women were often reduced to subservient, caricature-like roles. He referenced Aunt Jemima in the line, and black women in this profession. As for playing a lawyer, out of the question for what they play. Aunt Jemima is the perfect term, highlighting how deeply rooted those racial stereotypes were in mainstream entertainment.
And black women in this profession, as for playing a lawyer, out of the question for what they played.
Decades later, that bar still holds weight, as the company behind the Aunt Jemima brand eventually removed her image from packaging in 2020, nearly 30 years after Kane called it out, proving how forward-thinking and socially aware his lyrics were. That same energy carried over into his other collaborations. In 1991, Kane linked up with R&B legend Patti LaBelle for her album Burnin', delivering the rap verse on the single Feels Like Another One, blending his lyrical skills with her soulful vocals. The collaboration was well received and showcased Kane's versatility and willingness to cross genres. He also appeared on LaBelle's Live in New York video release, further solidifying his crossover appeal. Kane's musical contributions in film were also significant. He recorded the high-energy track Nuff Respect for the Juice soundtrack, the cult classic 1992 film directed by Ernest Dickerson and starring Omar Epps and Tupac Shakur. The song stood out for Kane's trademark rapid-fire delivery, fitting perfectly with the film's raw and intense vibe.
Into the dragon, as I start the rain, attack the nigga, the rappers on the bandwagon. Feel the fury of a venom.
Also in 1991, Kane's lyrical brilliance was recognized on one of the biggest stages when he took home the Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group. This was for his feature on the star-studded Quincy Jones track Back on the Block, from the album of the same name. The song was a genre-blending celebration of black music and culture, and Kane's presence alongside a lineup of hip-hop and R&B heavyweights showcased the level of respect he commanded across the industry. While Kane remained a lyrical powerhouse throughout the 90s, his career took a few creative turns. Known for experimenting with sounds, he started to incorporate more R&B influences into his music, which was a bold move that received mixed reactions from fans and critics alike. His connection to the 5% Nation, a religious and philosophical movement, also became more prominent in his lyrics, drawing both praise for his depth and criticism from those less familiar or less accepting of the ideology. Though albums like Looks Like a Job 4 received critical acclaim, they didn't quite bring him back to the commercial heights he reached with It's a Big Daddy Thing. Still, Kane never faded away. He continued to tour and perform extensively, keeping his presence alive in the culture. Beyond music, Kane also explored acting. In 1993, he made his film debut in Posse, a black western directed by Mario Van Peebles, where he played a supporting role. That same year, he also appeared in Robert Townsend's superhero comedy, The Meteor Man. He was also no stranger to controversy. During the 1990s, Kane posed for Playgirl magazine and even appeared in Madonna's provocative coffee table book SEX, which featured a mix of celebrities and risque photo shoots. In 1995, Kane collaborated with MC Hammer and Tupac Shakur on a track titled Too Late Playa, also featuring Danny Boy.
The game is staying tight, forever playing right. Player haters saying he ain't right.
Around this time, there were rumors swirling about Kane possibly signing with Death Row East, a proposed expansion of Suge Knight's infamous Death Row Records label. Though a deal never materialized, he kept things moving in 1997 by linking up with Frankie Cutlass and several other Juice Crew vets on the track. The Cypher Part 3, a nostalgic nod to hip-hop's earlier days. In 1998, Kane released what would be his final solo studio album to date, Veterans' Day. The album didn't receive the kind of praise or commercial attention that his earlier work had enjoyed. The reviews were mixed and sales were modest, yet Kane never officially stepped away from hip-hop. Through the 2000s and beyond, he continued to make guest appearances, hop on tracks, and show up on stages around the world, cementing his place as one of the genre's enduring legends. By the early 2000s, Big Daddy Kane was proving that his influence in hip-hop wasn't bound to a specific era. He was still relevant and still respected. In 2000, he made a standout appearance on Tony Touch's The Peacemaker mixtape, spitting bars alongside fellow legends Kool G Rap and KRS-One. During this period, Kane took on a more collaborative approach, teaming up with artists from both the Golden Era and the underground circuit, showcasing his adaptability and love for the craft. He lent his skills to hip-hop purists and progressive acts alike, working with the likes of A Tribe Called Quest, the soulful and nostalgic Jurassic 5, conscious rap favorites Little Brother, and even DJ Babu from the turntablist collective Beat Junkies. He also dropped 2 solid singles during this time that further demonstrated his continued lyrical sharpness. One was The Man, the Icon, produced by The Alchemist, and the other, So Any Type of Way, produced by none other than DJ Premier. On the latter, Kane offered gritty reflections on post-9/11 New York and the social political climate of the time. He delivered poignant lines like Giuliani got New York looking like it's Amistad, referencing both the historical slave ship and the sense of oppression that lingered in the city during the mayor's administration. In 2003, Kane stepped into another genre altogether, collaborating with British trip-hop band Morcheeba on their single What's Your Name? His contributions to hip-hop history were formally recognized in 2005 when VH1 honored him during their annual Hip Hop Honors show. The tribute included performances of some of his most iconic hits by contemporary stars like T.I., Common, and Black Thought, each influenced in some way by Kane's blueprint. But the moment that brought the house down was when Kane himself hit the stage, performing Warm It Up Kane alongside his original dancers Scoob and Scrap Lover. The performance was electric. a throwback to an era when stage presence was just as important as mic skills, and Kane still had both in abundance. In 2006, Kane continued his string of guest features, appearing on Get Wild Off This, a track produced by the UK-based Stanton Warriors for their Stanton Sessions Vol. 2 mix. That same year, he took part in a legendary segment during the 2006 Hot 97 Summer Jam, sharing the stage with Wu-Tang Clan, Rakim, Q-Tip, and longtime collaborator Busta Rhymes. The performance was part of Busta's tribute to New York hip-hop, and Kane's inclusion was no surprise. He was a pillar in the city's musical foundation. As time went on, Kane continued to evolve. In 2013, he formed a live band called Lost Supper, alongside R&B singer Showtime and New York collective Lifted Crew. The group dropped an album titled Back to the Future on March 26, 2013. Then, in June 2020, Kane stepped back into the spotlight for a cause that was close to his heart and deeply connected to the times. He released a single titled Enough, a passionate and thought-provoking response to the ongoing issue of police brutality and racial injustice. Big Daddy Kane is widely acknowledged as one of the most influential and technically gifted MCs to emerge from hip-hop's golden age. His name is consistently mentioned among the all-time greats not just for his lyrical precision and delivery, but for the depth of his artistry and the long-lasting impact he's had on the culture. MTV ranked him at number 7 on their prestigious list of the greatest MCs of all time. In Kool Moe Dee's landmark book, There's a God on the Mic, The True 50 Greatest MCs, Kane is positioned even higher, at number 4. Similarly, About.com named him the 3rd greatest MC in their top 50 MCs of our time list, citing his extraordinary influence and unmatched lyrical agility. In 2012, The Source, often referred to as the Bible of hip-hop, ranked Kane at number 8 on its list of the top 50 lyricists of all time. AllMusic, one of the most reputable databases for music journalism, highlights Kane's versatility and lasting relevance by stating that his best work ranks among the finest hip-hop of its era. They go on to praise his S-drenched persona, which influenced a generation of rappers who adopted his cool player-like swagger. They further describe Kane as an enormously talented battle MC with near-peerless technique and razor-clean dexterity, emphasizing his natural ability to captivate listeners and dismantle opponents in lyrical warfare. His verbal command, rhythmic complexity, and stage presence are noted as rare and exceptional qualities that made him a standout even in an era brimming with talent. Critically, his first 2 albums, Long Live the Kane, 1988, and It's a Big Daddy Thing, 1989, are hailed as undisputed hip-hop classics. They shaped not only how hip-hop sounded, but also how it looked and moved. These albums showcased Kane's wide range, from rapid-fire braggadocio and street tales to love songs and party anthems. Rolling Stone also highlighted how Kane has received consistent critical kudos throughout his career, marking him as a rare artist whose work stood the test of time in both public acclaim and critical evaluation. In Wrap Up, The Ultimate Guide to Hip-Hop and R&B, authors Cameron and Devin Lazarine write that Kane is widely seen as one of the best lyricists of his time, and even today regularly gets name-checked by younger dudes, which shows just how deeply his impact has permeated into modern hip-hop. Music journalist Peter Shapiro even went as far as calling Kane perhaps the most complete MC ever. A statement that takes into account not just lyrical ability, but also performance, charisma, influence, and innovation. Kane's reach extends into the careers of today's giants as well. Eminem, one of the most commercially successful and technically acclaimed rappers of all time, referenced Kane directly in his track Yellow Brick Road from the Encore album. In every corner of the culture, from industry insiders to lyrical scholars to today's chart toppers, Big Daddy Kane is respected not just as a pioneer, but as a perennial giant.